and welcome to the news on Africa News 24 TV. I am Lydia Ajayi. Let's take a look at some of the stories making headline. Governor of Bayelsa State, Duye Diri, dumps PDP, joins APC. Nigerians' inflation rate drops to 18.02%, says NBS. Former Kenyan leader Raila Odinga dies. Now the news in details. Governor Duye Diri of Bayelsa State, an influential political figure, has taken a significant political step by officially resigning his membership from the People's Democratic Party, a major political party in Nigeria. This move is noteworthy not only because of his prominent role within the party, but also due to his impact on state politics. Alongside the governor, a substantial number of legislators, precisely 23 members of the State House of Assembly, have joined him in severing ties with the party. This mass resignation underscores a possible shift in the political landscape of the state and raises numerous questions about the future political alignments and dynamics at play. The announcement, which has already stirred discussions and speculation among political observers and the general public alike, was formally made by the governor's chief press secretary, Daniel Alabra, through a post on his Facebook page. The former Senate.
My membership of the People's Democratic Party. And I'm not going to resign alone. And as you can see, I'm here with Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and all the members of our party who are going to go with me. There are some who are not here because they are on official assignments. And so today, I have formally resigned my membership of the People's Democratic Party for very obvious reasons. I'm grateful to all my friends and supporters who have stood by us and with us. And I want to thank all of you again and again. And together we will continue to build a strong and virile Bayelsa State and a strong and virile country by extension. Once again, I appreciate you. I thank you all, and may God bless Bayelsa State. Thank you.
Meanwhile, the former senator representing Bayelsa East, Ben Murray Bruce, has dumped the opposition People's Democratic Party for the ruling All Progressive Congress. Murray Bruce, the founder of Silverbird Group, announced his defection via a statement shared on his X account on Wednesday. He said his decision was motivated by his conviction that President Bola Tinubu's administration is on the right track toward rebuilding Nigeria's economy and restoring confidence in governance. Murray Bruce commended Tinubu for implementing economic reforms aimed at deregulating the economy, tackling insecurity, and improving fiscal discipline, describing them as the foundation of tomorrow's prosperity. In another development, the House of Representatives is set to intervene and resolve the ongoing dispute between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, with the aim to end the two-week warning strike. The proposed intervention follows a motion by lawmaker Honorable Shesi Winga, who said the House leadership will seek a lasting solution to the crisis that has stalled Nigeria's public universities for years. ASU began the warning strike on Monday after a 14-day ultimatum expired. The lecturers are demanding the implementation of the 2009 ASU federal government agreement, payment of withheld salaries, revitalization of universities, and better funding for tertiary education. The strike has disrupted examinations nationwide, with the education minister directing universities to apply a no-work, no-pay policy. The lawmakers said they will engage both sides soon to prevent a full shutdown of the nation's universities. Moving on, the Edo State Governor, Senator Monday Okpebolo, has directed members of his cabinet to openly show their support for President Bola Tinubu by wearing branded outfits bearing the president's insignia. The governor gave the directive on Tuesday while swearing in newly appointed commissioners and inaugurating commissions and boards of agencies in Benin. Okpebolo, who attributed his electoral victory to Tinubu's support, said loyalty to the president must reflect even in appearance. The governor urged the commissioners to see their appointment as a call to serve the people rather than an opportunity for self-enrichment. He also said his government would not tolerate corruption, stressing that the commissioners were appointed to serve the people of Edo State.
And you are wearing traditional dress and you are coming to the rescue without this as you are to come. You are going back.
Meanwhile, the All Progressive Congress has opted for the consensus method to select its governorship candidate ahead of the October 27 primary election in Ekiti State. The development follows the voluntary withdrawal of one of the two cleared aspirants, Atinuke Omolayo, leaving the incumbent governor, Biodun Oyebanji, as the sole contender for the party's ticket. In a statement issued on Tuesday, the APC National Publicity Secretary, Felix Moka, said the party's National Working Committee approved the switch from the earlier direct primary to a consensus arrangement in accordance with the Electoral Act 2022 and the party's constitution. Moka disclosed that the Independent National Electoral Commission had been duly notified of the development through a letter dated October 13, 2025. He noted that the APC had complied with all statutory provisions under Sections 84, Subsection 9 and Subsection 11 of the Electoral Act regarding the adoption of the consensus mode. According to the timetable released by the party, the Delegates' Congress will hold on Saturday, October 25, 2025, while the Delegates' Congress appeal is scheduled for Sunday, October 26, 2025. A special nomination Congress will take place on Monday, October 27, 2025, to officially ratify the consensus candidates. The party's spokesman commended Omolayo for her sportsmanship and commitment to party unity and progress, urging party leaders, members and stakeholders in Ekiti State to close ranks and work collectively for the APC's victory in the July 20, 2026 governorship election. He also recalled that another aspirant, Kayode Ojo, had earlier been disqualified by the party's screening committee on October 9. In another development, the Nigerian Army says it is stepping up efforts to build the capacity of its personnel to better respond to emerging threats across the country. The Army has launched a capacity-building seminar for senior non-commissioned officers under Operation Enduring Peace in Plateau State. The training, according to military authorities, is designed to strengthen leadership, enhance professionalism, and improve coordination within the ranks. The initiative is part of the ongoing reforms by the Nigerian Army Resource Center to ensure that officers are well prepared to tackle security challenges effectively in the country. Christiana Chikezie has more details.
The Nigerian Army has reaffirmed its commitment to strengthening the capacity of its personnel through continuous training aimed at effectively addressing insecurity across the country. Speaking at a capacity-building seminar in Jos, Plateau State, the Director General of the Nigerian Army Resource Center, retired Major General James Miam, who was represented by the Executive Director Consult, Nigerian Army Resource Center, Major General Sanusi Dahiru, said the training for senior non-commissioned officer under Operation Enduring Peace was designed to bridge existing leadership gaps within the ranks.
The essence of this course is to put you on the same pedestal with the senior cadre so that you can carry the junior cadre along. If you are weak, the whole chain is weak. But if you are strong, the whole chain will remain strong.
In his remarks, the General Officer Commanding 3 Division and host of the seminar, Major General Folusho Oyinlola, described the training as a timely intervention to strengthen leadership capacity amid evolving security challenges.
This selection is a mark of confidence in the vision and your respective services and organizations are in your potential. We see you as the critical leaders who will steer the course of this division and the Nigerian Army in years to come. The complex security challenges within our joint operations area demand more than tactical proficiency. They demand inspired, ethical, and visionary leadership.
The GOC further charged the participants to imbibe leadership values and uphold the confidence reposed in them. The exercise forms part of the Nigerian Army's ongoing efforts to enhance professionalism, discipline, and effective command among its officers and men in tackling national security threats.
Nigerians from all walks of life have intensified criticisms against President Bola Tinubu's recent presidential pardons to some persons on the list of the 175 convicts recently granted clemency and presidential pardon. They expressed displeasure about the nature of the offenses committed by the pardoned individuals, questioning the sincerity of the president's action. Commentators are particularly uncomfortable about the inclusion of Miriam Sanda, a young woman who was sentenced to death in 2020 for killing her husband, as well as some other persons who were convicted for various criminal acts, including drug trafficking and corruption. Many Nigerians, including legal experts and civil society groups, says the president's action undermines the justice system and raises questions about fairness and transparency in the pardon process. Praise Adeleke has more story.
President Bola Tinubu's decision to grant presidential pardons to 175 individuals has sparked nationwide outrage, particularly over the inclusion of Miriam Sanda, convicted in 2020 for killing her husband. The Council of State approved the pardon last week following recommendation from the Attorney General based on report of Advisory Committee on the Prerogative of Mercy. The full list, released days later, revealed that nearly 30% of those pardoned were convicted for drug-related offenses, the largest category, alongside others found guilty of illegal mining, corruption, and homicide. The most debatable name, however, remains Miriam Sanda, who was sentenced to death by hanging for stabbing her husband to death.
The challenge is now when we have persons of questionable character who faced their time in the court and were sentenced accordingly, being pardoned. You know, it can really cause a lot of torture to people who were the victims of those people, particularly persons that were killed and their killer were given pardon.
The presidency later explained that her pardon was granted on the grounds of good conduct in prison and appeals from her family. The victim's family has condemned the decision, describing it as a betrayal of justice.
So what this pardoning has done is to damage that relationship with Nigeria and international communities.
Although critics argue the move undermines the judiciary and reinforces perception that the influential can evade accountability, there are now growing calls for reform in the process of granting presidential pardons, with demands for clearer criteria and greater transparency to preserve the integrity of Nigeria's justice system.
In Delta State, security operatives have recorded a major breakthrough in the fight against arms smuggling. The Department of State Services has intercepted a large catch of weapons in Asaba and arrested a suspected arms dealer believed to be part of a syndicate trafficking weapons from Libya into Nigeria. The DSS says the operation underscores its determination to curb illegal arms circulation and strengthen security across the country. Imole Johnson has more details.
The Department of State Services, DSS in Delta State, has intercepted a large cache of weapons in Asaba and arrested a notorious arms dealer, Stephen Sabo Atoshi, alongside a 40-year-old teacher from Taraba State. Deputy Director of Operations, Anthony Femiji, said the suspects were part of a network smuggling arms from Libya through Chad into Nigeria. Recovered items included general-purpose machine guns, AK-47 rifles, hand grenades, and fake drugs concealed in bags of beans.
Nobody can go free. You can't kill somebody and you think that people backing you. You know, because both those who are backing them will bring them to book. Because this is Delta State, one piece. You can see they brought this kind of into Delta State. It's not madness. Who do you want to kill in Delta State? want to destabilize this government, we cannot take it from any ethnic nationality.
Briefing Governor Sheriff Oborevori, the DSS said the suspect admitted to 8 years in the illegal trade, supplying over 55 weapons nationwide.
The least that the government will do to prove to us that they are working is to arrest and fish the killers of Jerry.
Individuals that shot in the Odion Robo crisis is known and is being trailed. We are not in any way complicit.
Governor Oborevori commended the agency for the breakthrough and ordered a crackdown on criminal networks, reaffirming his administration's commitment to peace and security in Delta State.
And arrested the arms dealer, Stephen Sabo Atosi, a 40-year-old secondary school teacher from Gasol in Taraba State. He noted that his associate in Warri had paid for the weapons in full and have planned to deploy same for large-scale criminal activities in the state.
As Nigeria prepares for the 2027 general elections, the National Assembly is taking steps to strengthen the nation's electoral framework. Lawmakers say they are committed to comprehensive reforms aimed at improving transparency, deepening democracy, and restoring public confidence in the electoral process. The move follows a public hearing in Abuja on the proposed bill to repeal the Electoral Act 2022 and enact a new Electoral Act 2025, a step many believe could reshape the conduct of future elections in the country. Christiana Chikezie has more details.
The National Assembly has reaffirmed its commitment to comprehensive electoral reforms ahead of the 2027 general elections. Lawmakers say the move is part of efforts to strengthen Nigeria's democracy and restore public confidence in the electoral process. The assurance came during a public hearing on the bill to repeal the Electoral Act 2022 and enact the Electoral Act 2025 held at the National Assembly in Abuja. Presiding officers of both chambers, represented by Senator Tahir Monguno and Speaker Julius Ihomvere, said the review seeks to correct lapses identified in previous elections.
When they doubt it, the soul of democracy begins to fade. Our duty as legislators is therefore to build a system where every Nigerian knows that his or her vote is sacred and the process is shielded from manipulation.
Chairmen of the Senate and House Committees on Electoral Matters, Simon Lalong and Adebayo Balogun, pledged an inclusive process involving INEC, political parties, and civil society groups.
The objective is not to serve the interests of any political party or group, but to safeguard the integrity of our elections and build public confidence in the democratic process.
Which are of interest to the public, such as the early voting, which means that people on essential duties will be able to have a week or two opportunity to vote earlier than the others.
Civil society leader Clement Wankwo of the Policy and Legal Advocacy Center urged lawmakers to focus on technology-driven voting, campaign finance regulation, and stronger sanctions for electoral offenses.
When we look at the Electoral Act, I think it's so very important that we have stability of a legal framework and that we do have, from this exercise, a legal framework that will endure several elections.
The review process will continue in the coming weeks, with the final bill expected to be presented before both chambers ahead of the 2027 polls.
From the business sector, the National Bureau of Statistics has announced that Nigerians' headline inflation rate fell to 18.02% in September 2025. According to the NBS Consumer Price Index report released on Wednesday, the latest figure represents a slight decline compared to the 18.48% recorded in August 2025. The Bureau explained that the drop was mainly driven by slower increases in food and transportation costs, as well as improved market supply of agricultural products across several states. Despite the decline, the report noted that the cost of living remains high, with food inflation and core inflation still exerting pressure on household purchasing power. The NBS stated that it will continue to monitor price trends across the country to provide accurate data for policy decisions aimed at stabilizing the economy. Moving on, the House of Representatives has resolved to probe unexplained and arbitrary deductions allegedly imposed by commercial banks on customers' accounts. A motion adopted during plenary directed the Central Bank of Nigeria and major deposits money banks to appear before the House Committees on Banking Regulations and Banking Institutions to explain the recurring charges. Lawmakers noted that many Nigerians continue to suffer deductions, including SMS alert fees, account and card maintenance charges, interbank transfer fees, and stamp duties, often duplicated or unaccounted for. The House called on the CBN to publish a simplified and comprehensive schedule of approved bank charges, enforce penalties on erring institutions, and establish an efficient redress mechanism for affected customers. Federal regulatory bodies like the FCCPC were urged to launch consumer education campaigns to inform Nigerians of their rights over bank fees. The investigation is expected to produce a report within 4 weeks, which may pave the way for legislative action to curb exploitative banking practices. In another development, the Nigerian Infrastructure Debt Fund has announced a profit after tax of 16.87 billion naira for the 9 months ended 30th September 2025. The results reflect improved performance from its infrastructure lending portfolio and financial investment operations. Analysts attribute the gains to enhanced yield on debt instruments and better loan deployment across energy, transport, and social infrastructure sectors. Industry observers say the performance underscores growing investor confidence in Nigeria's infrastructure finance space and could stimulate further capital inflows. The fund now faces expectations to sustain growth, issue regular returns to unit holders, and deepen its impact on bridging the country's infrastructure gap. Let's go on a short break, and when we get back, we'll bring you more stories from the foreign scene and the world of sports.
Africa faces a major challenge of dominance as leaders refuse to step down and hold on to power despite time and age failing them. Here are top 10 African leaders who have refused to give up leadership positions despite various challenges. 1. Teodoro Obiang of Equatorial Guinea. He gained power in 1979 and is still in power as the president of Equatorial Guinea till date, making him Africa's longest-serving president. 2. Paul Biya of Cameroon. He gained power in 1982 as the president and at the age of 92 has reportedly declared interest to run for another term during Cameroon's next presidential poll. 3. Yoweri Museveni of Uganda. He gained power in 1986 after seizing a true rebellion and has served as the 9th and current president of Uganda since then. 4. Denis Asonge of the Republic of Congo. He gained power in 1997 and before then has served as the president between 1979 to 1992. He passed the new constitution in 2015, which enabled him to stand for another term in 2016 and 2021 presidential elections with a majority in the first round. 5. Paul Kagame of Rwanda, a politician and former military officer. He gained power in 2000 after leading the Rwanda Patriotic Front. 6. Isaias Afwerki of Eritrea is a politician and leader who gained power since independence in 1993 as the president of Eritrea and the former chairman of the People's Front for Democracy and Justice since 1994. 7. Ismail Omar of Djibouti. He gained power in 1999 as the president, making him the head of state and head of government of the Djibouti and the commander-in-chief of the Djibouti Armed Forces. He's been there up to date. 8. Faure Asingbe of Togo. He gained power in 2005 after his father's 38-year rule and is no longer in power as of May 3, 2025, after he was succeeded by Jane Lucian as the first president of the Council of Ministers, while the role of president became ceremonial. 9. Alassane Ouattara of Ivory Coast. He gained power as the president since 2010 with controversial re-election bids, but he remains the president of Côte d'Ivoire till date. 10. Ali Bongo of Gabon. He's a politician and dictator. He was the third president of Gabon from 2009 until he was deposed in a coup in 2023. He ruled for 14 years after succeeding his father's 42-year reign.
AN24 TV. From the foreign scene, former Kenya Prime Minister Raila Odinga has passed away at the age of 80 while receiving medical treatment in India. Report says Odinga collapsed during a morning walk and was rushed to Devamata Hospital, where doctors said he suffered a cardiac arrest. Efforts to resuscitate him failed and he was pronounced dead at 9:52 a.m. local time. In recent weeks, there had been speculations about his health, though his families and close allies had dismissed reports of any serious illness. President William Ruto has described Odinga as a beacon of courage and the father of Kenya's democracy. The president has declared a 7-day national mourning period and announced that Odinga will be accorded a state funeral with full honors. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi called him a towering statesman and cherished friend of India, while South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa praised him as a leader who placed his country and continent first. A delegation led by Kenya's Foreign Affairs Minister Musalia Mudavadi alongside Odinga is expected to travel to India to repatriate his body. Raila Odinga, a name synonymous to Kenya's democratic struggle, leaves behind a legacy that shaped a nation and inspired a continent. Madagascar's new military ruler, Michael Rajoelina, would soon be sworn in as the president of the African island nation after a coup he led to oust President Andry Rajoelina. Rajoelina made this known on Wednesday. Rajoelina, who was impeached by lawmakers after fleeing abroad at the weekend, has condemned the takeover and refused to step down despite Gen Z protests demanding his resignation and widespread defections in the security forces. Rajoelina has told Malagasy citizens that the military has taken power and dissolved all institutions except the lower house of Parliamentary or National Assembly. Moving on, dozens of troops and civilians have been killed in a new wave of border skirmishes between Pakistan and Afghanistan on Wednesday as clashes entered second week in troubled zone. Violence between the two neighboring countries has intensified since a series of explosions in Afghanistan last week, including 2 in the capital, Kabul, which Pakistan blamed on Afghan-based militants. In retaliation, the Taliban government in Kabul launched an offensive along parts of its southern border, prompting Islamabad to vow a strong response. Pakistan has long accused Afghanistan of harboring militant groups, including the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan, a charge that has been denied by Kabul. In the latest finding, Pakistan's military accused Afghan Taliban forces of attacking 2 major border posts in the southwest and northwest. It said both assaults were repelled, with about 20 Taliban fighters killed near Spin Boldak on the Afghan side of the frontier in southern Kandahar province early Wednesday. And now in sports, there have been excitement and mixed reactions by Nigerians as the country secured a spot in the playoff stage of the World Cup qualifiers. While some sports-loving Nigerians jubilated over the nations qualifying for the next phase, others welcomed the Super Eagles' victory with cautious optimism. African News 24 TV Sports went round the streets to hear what Nigerians have to say about the Super Eagles' performance and their chances moving forward.
Look at this Uyo Stadium. Very, 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 very fine stadium. We need to have many stadiums like that, so that our people, our boys can be trained well. They will be playing good football.
So I believe that we will qualify. By the way, the boys are taking the match so serious. So I believe that we will qualify.
We are not yet given the part of the competition yet, because we are qualified with playoff. So we are going to play playoff. Then after then, we can have, okay, probably we are going to the World Cup. So, with this current score, a very good game we have today. At least ever since the coach has stepped in, person of Eric Chile is a nice one. If not for what was it? Benedict George, we are going to supervise our preparation in this World Cup. So it's a very good game we have today. So hopefully, after the playoff, we have the tickets for the World Cup.
The match today has been very, very okay for me, and I believe we will qualify. With what I've seen today, yes, I believe we will qualify. As for the coaching, there's nothing we can do. This is dying minutes, because bringing in another person after this match, I don't think it will work. So he's taking us there, whether we like it or not. So the only thing he needs is support. That's all. We have a very good team. Fantastic guys. They're all doing well in their club side. Their club level. They are doing very well. So there is a very high chance of us. We're doing more than the good thing at the World Cup. So we have a high chance of that.
In a related development, the Super Eagles will face the Pandas of Gabon in the semi-finals of the African section of the 2026 FIFA World Cup playoffs, following the conclusion of the qualifying group matches on Tuesday. Nigeria booked their place after a 4-0 victory over Benin, while Gabon sealed second place in Group F with a 2-0 win against Burundi, aided by Ivory Coast's win over Kenya to top the group. The playoffs, featuring the 4 best runner-ups from the 9 African qualifying groups, are scheduled to take place in Morocco from November 13th to 16th. We will go on a break, and when we return, Fawaz Akoshile will bring you stories on entertainment.